November 5th, 2018, and we're about to end the sprint number 10 of Kiali. So this is the usual demo. So Lucas is going to be first, and then Viet, and then Edgar, and maybe Shuka if is ready, and we still have some time. So Lucas, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. So can you see my screen?
No. Yes. Yeah. Good. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, thank you. So, I would like to present to you, to everyone, that in Kiali we have now a formal logo for the Kiali. So, congrats to all the team. And I would like just to focus on this sprint. That basically, or the main change that we have worked is to adapt the Kiali entities to the Istio model. So before, in previous version of Kiali, we were focused mostly on services. And now what we have tried to do is just to also to bring to the user observability, group it per applications entity, per workloads entity, and per services in a similar way as Istio is naming all this model. Application is a logical aggregation of basically the several workloads, okay? But Kiali is focusing on observability and its groups, and it can give you the status or the health of all the workloads related to a same application. In this case, I can show that I have some errors happening in the reviews application, which is composed from the workload version 1, version 2, and version 3. And also we can see the inbound metrics, all the traffic that is incoming into the services that are in front of the workloads, okay? In this case, we are showing as well metrics focused for request volume, duration, response time, and also metrics for TCP that my colleagues are going to show, and also outbound metrics. This means all the metrics that are all the outbound traffic that are related to the calls that the workloads are doing to other services within the mesh, okay? Another interesting scenario is that we are also bringing back the validation of if this application, this workloads has the Istio deployments well defined or not. Okay, something that we can bring here, and also we can just to link with the services related, the services that are in front of this workload and belongs to this application. Okay. Also, in a similar way, we can also to browse or service mesh through the workloads. Okay, the workloads is the terminology that we use to refer of what we can call a deployment. Okay, in Kubernetes world. Okay, and this is specific. For example, we can also to show the health, the metrics per workload related. We can see which specific workload has some problem. And inside the workloads, for example, we can just see, for example, what are the details of this. In this case, this workload is coming from a deployment. We have these pods. We can also show what are the services related to these pods. And we can also to add additional validation for these pods. For example, one interesting scenario that we show in Kiali is that that Istio is recommending that you should label your pods with two let's say labels, two types of labels, the app label and the version. So in Kiali, we can also check if we have some deployment where the version label is not present, okay, or for example, when the app label is not present, and that can mean that it's not belongs to the Istio mesh. That means that probably you cannot define Istio traffic routing because you don't have the proper labeling. And also we can to check that in these cases, if we enter into the details, we can also to see the validation that that we don't have detected that this pod has not an Istio sidecar, this pod has not version level, and that can also to mean that that it could have something that, for example, could be missing into the deployments scenario is something that could have some kind of problems. Okay, and also we can browse by the services. The services we can is a view that we have now, but we are proper linking for these services what are the workloads that are being behind these services, what are also the source, all the workloads that are invoking these services, for example, where the request coming from, for example, from this kind of workloads. And also we will have, as we have in previous versions, for example, the traffic routing that we define. For example, from under these services, the service of the review, we may have this virtual service where we have some foul route just to make some of the queries false in this graphic way of via the YAML as well. Or we can also to see what are the destination rules behind that these services that is managed directly by Istio. Okay, this is basically the new thing that we are focused. So for this version, we has been working fixing a lot of bugs. So I think that people are going to see that this the application is quite stable in the sense, but in terms of the big area that we were working is just to adapt to the new model that that Istio is using. And I guess that is for me for my summary. Thank you.
All right, thanks. So what is next? You can share your screen.
Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so on behalf of the other half of Kiali team, the Sarin team, I'd like to highlight some of the work that we have done in the past, in the last sprint. And maybe I won't go over all the bug fixes, but one of the key features that we added in the last sprint is adding support for TCP traffic. We have been supporting HTTP in the beginning, and now that we add that in this last sprint, and that comes with additional, Edgar will show a more in-depth demo after me. I'm just gonna quickly talk about it. There will be new arrow with new color to indicate TCP traffic, and new side panel. And another feature is in the past release to support Istio1, we introduced different graph types, but that not easily accessible from the UI. So we added the new dropdown where you can select to view your workload graph, your app. And we also did a lot of UI improvement work, in particular the legend and the zoom control has been kind of at the bottom left of my screen, has been reworked. We introduced quite a bit of new shapes to indicate the workload and the services. So now you can see what they mean in the legend. Another, select one service, another improvement that we added is the, now in the service metric graph, you can select the traffic from the destination, showing traffic coming into a destination or coming from the source. That makes sense. So we introduce a drop-down of that. I think in the past we only reported traffic from the source. And yeah, and two other improvements are the Kiali message center. In the past, it only shows you error messages, and but in the current release, you can act on it. I can show you an example of that. So rid of this. Okay. So now you can see I have an error. Then I can act on the error or come back and clear it later. And lastly, we also introduced the ability to add a skin, quote unquote, into the UI. At the moment, we support the Red Hat common user interface skin. So I'm switching back and forth so you can see. So this is the default look and feel. And then I'm switching to the Red Hat common interface, slightly darker background. And to do this, it's supported by the build script. So you need to add some environment variables before you start the build. And that's it. And Edgar Fu showed the demo on GCP traffic.
Yep, Edgar next.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Can see it.
Yes, thank you. Right, so the TCP support for Kiali in this sprint is mainly in the service graph or the graph. So previously we weren't showing any nodes for TCP services. We only had HTTP nodes like we are currently seeing in the current graph. So in order to show or demo this new feature, I will be creating a new rating services, which is provided in the booking for sample demo application. So I will go to the console or terminal. I will create a Mongo database. This is the command that I use to create a new Mongo database service and a new Mongo database deployment. You can see that it creates the service and the deployment. And also I will create a new rating service, version 2 of the rating service. This service will use the Mongo database. It don't create a deployment because the service is already present in the cluster with the version 1 of the rating services. So we can see the pods of the book info namespace. You can see that the Mongo database is running now. It is the one that is created a few seconds ago, and also the new version of the rating services is now running. So if we go back to the graph, it will start showing the node of the Mongo database. This is a TCP service. Previously, we weren't able to show this node in the graph, and now it is supported. You can see that also the arrow has a different arrowhead. It has a little line almost very close to the arrowhead. And the color of the arrow is in blue. So this is to differentiate HTTP traffic, which are colored either red or green. We choose the blue color because we don't, for TCP traffic, we cannot resolve if the request or the traffic has some succeeded status. It's just data that is flowing. We can really know if there are some errors or everything is going fine. So that's the reason that the arrow is colored in blue. And the little bar in the arrowhead is just differentiated. This is basically what we are in this sprint for TCP traffic. You could also go to the either workload or service or application sections and go here and see that the Mongo database is listed here. You will of course be able to see the TCP metrics that will be starting to get populated. I don't remember if we showed this before, but you show in case. All right, so this is the new support for TCP traffic. That's all I had to demo.
All right, thanks. Then I guess if you have some time, if you're ready to demo, we can go.
All right, so I guess you can see my screen, and what I have is very quick, and it is the Jaeger operator. So this is not released yet. I mean, this is not yet intended for wider consumption, so very alpha, but it's working already. So what I have here is a Minikube with Elasticsearch. And right after Minikube start, I also just added support for ingress traffic. Right, so it's similar to the OpenShift routes, at least in purpose here for us. So as any other operator, we need to install Arabic rules, the useful resource definition itself, and then the operator. So we just paste those lines here. And we should see an operator here running. Logs, so it is running. And now it's just waiting for a Jaeger deployment to be seen here. And so we have a new type called Jaeger. We can make a deployment a file similar to. And so we have a new kind, which is Jaeger, and we specify a name and what is our deployment strategy. It can be production or all-in-one. What kind of storage we have. So in this case here, we have an Elasticsearch and some Elasticsearch connection information. And we're just going to apply this one. So oops, and this one. And we have a new Jaeger. So we can query which Jaegers we have, kubectl control gap. And we see that there's one created 9 seconds ago. We get the pods. So we see that we have 2 pods being created as part of the production strategy. One is the collector and another one is the query. The query has a sidecar with the Jaeger agent, meaning that query itself, so we have traces from the query service itself. We have one of these. done. So we have everything running now. So logs. This one here, for instance, is indeed running, and for a query with the query container, it's running, and for the agent container, it's also running. And it also creates a new ingress route. So control get ingress, and it says that we have a Jaeger available on this IP on port 80. So just open the Jaeger UI, and if we keep refreshing, we see spans for the Jaeger query service. Now it takes some time to get the first phrase there on the screen. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's related to Elasticsearch, so not related to the Jaeger operator itself. But with some luck and with given enough time, we should be able to see some traces here. And we see that it's indeed being generated by our production deployment of the query. So we have other examples as well, and here the written file should be relatively complete and shows how to do simple deployment. So the simplest deployment possible, it's just this. Right? So we have sensible defaults for pretty much everything. And this is a more complex example of deployment. So this is meant to replace our Kubernetes template and possibly also our OpenShift template as well. And hopefully in the future, we'll be able to use it with the existing Helm chart to make it easier for people to deploy Jaeger and make dependencies between Jaeger and a backing storage like Cassandra or Elasticsearch, for instance. So yeah, I guess that's it also from my side.
All right, thanks. Thanks everyone. I guess that concludes the demo, unless someone is speaking pretty fast. No? Okay, so thanks everyone. Again, if you have feedback, comments, best ways to open Jira's, but also contact us on IRC and Kiali and Freenode, for instance, and we can discuss new proposals. And we start the new sprint on Monday, so we're going to do a release this Friday, and we are doing the planning phase from now until Friday. Right, bye.